Welcome back to Offroad Outlaws, y'all, and in this video we're going to be talking about where the game is going, potential things that I am excited about, and things that I have seen speculation about in regards to the upcoming update within the community, and we're going to take a look back at where this game originally came from. But if that is something you are interested in, make sure you keep watching for the rest of the video. But before we go any further, let's take a look back in time at what this game looked like in 2018. Now, the footage you are about to see was uploaded to my YouTube channel back in January of 2018, and it really shows how far this game has actually come. Now, of course, you can see that the game looks a lot more basic, it looks a lot more stripped down, and there's definitely features that you can tell are kind of missing. Not necessarily missing, but they're just not there in comparison to the way the game would be. Now, as we load in, take a look at what this actually looks like. The behavior of the truck, the graphics on screen, the odd tint to the visuals. There's a lot of, it just looks like it's from a different time, right? So if we take that and then we look back at what we have now, it really does put the level of progress that this game has made into perspective, because especially as a game that is only on mobile systems, it can be hard for games like this to continue to make this much progress. And frankly, this game has seen more community-driven updates than some of the console and PC games that I've seen as of the last few years. Obviously not all, but definitely some. And as we continue to look back at 2018 Offroad Outlaws, definitely let me know in the comments down below what things you don't miss and what things you do miss if you are someone that has been playing Offroad Outlaws for a really long time. And actually, really interesting, let me know in the comments below when you first started playing Offroad Outlaws, because I'm sure that there are some of you that have been playing for many, many years, probably since before 2018, and I'm sure there are also some of y'all that only started playing Offroad Outlaws within the previous year. So there's a lot to look into, at least in the grounds of, you know, this game's history and background. But also, you got to remember that back in, 2018, when this was originally recorded, there really weren't all that many other off-road games that were available on mobile platforms, at least at this level of, interaction and quality. Now, obviously, there was Gigabit Off-Road, but I'm not quite sure what other options were out there at the time, but I do remember there weren't all that many. And of course, in early 2020, there was MudRunner Mobile, but MudRunner Mobile didn't really pan out, and I think in comparison to what a lot of us had expected it to be, it didn't really provide that. It didn't really meet those expectations, and just kind of ended up being like, oh, this is here, but doesn't really offer much in terms of the future. Whereas Offroad Outlaws has continued to endure and also continued to provide more and more and more updates for the community as time has gone on. Now, I have seen some people out there in the comments continuing to request that I play Off the Road, and I have played Off the Road before, but for some reason it didn't draw me in the way Offroad Outlaws did. It didn't feel quite as open and sandboxy as Offroad Outlaws did. Now, if y'all are very, very interested in me going back and trying it again, I would be down to do that. I would just need to make sure that that was something y'all were interested in. So if y'all do want to see me take another dive into Off the Road, let me know in the comment section below, because I have seen that some of y'all are pretty passionate about that game. Now, switching gears a little bit and talking about what we would like to see as a community in the next Offroad Outlaws update, one thing that I see a lot in the Offroad Outlaws community is where people will take a screenshot of their truck and then they will use maybe Photoshop or some other photo editing software to edit certain things about the truck that they may not be able to change with the in-game customization. And one of the biggest things that I see happening with photo-edited Offroad Outlaws builds is changes to cab configuration. And really what I should be saying with that is not just cab configurations, but cab and bed configurations, because sometimes people will take a short bed truck, make it a long bed. Some people will take a quad cab truck and make it a single cab. They'll change the bed size. They'll make it a single cab long bed, or a single cab short bed, or a full-on like shortened frame shorty conversion for a crawler. And that is probably the biggest thing that I see getting changed and edited and messed with in a lot of these photo-edited Offroad Outlaws builds is, once again, changes to the bed and cab size of different trucks. And of course, cab and bed size and configuration is something that we have spoken about before in prior videos, and something that we have talked about in terms of what we as a community would like to see in Offroad Outlaws later on down the road in the customization. But I'm not sure if it's a game engine limitation, or if it's just a customization system limitation or a space limitation maybe, or if it's a RAM limitation. It could be that as well. There's a lot of different factors that could go into that. But again, and I know I've said this in a lot of my Offroad Outlaws future update videos, but I think changes to cab and bed size would not only, allow the community, wow, we really demolished it on that one, but not only would it really allow the community to build the trucks that they truly deeply want to build, but I think it would also open the door for continued longevity of the game, because I think it would provide the game with a basis to create even more unique trucks than players might be able to create in other games. Because when your game is the only place where people can create trucks of certain configurations and types, if it's got the customization, that is the game that people are going to hang out in. And if we look at customization as a whole, it's one of the biggest reasons why people remember certain games, like Need for Speed Underground 2, for example. Yes, obviously it had different elements to it rather than just the customization, and some of y'all might be, some of y'all may have not even played the Need for Speed series back in the days of Underground 2. It might have not been in the generation of games that you were playing, but let me assure you that the customization was one of the deepest reasons why people played that game and also continue to go back to it to this day, why people make updated, modded versions of it. All of these different things, a lot of them revolve around vehicle customization, because again, it gives the players the ultimate choice to create the vehicles that they want to create. And in my opinion, that's one of the biggest things that Offroad Outlaws needs, because, we see big surges and, we see big dips and surges in relation to Offroad Outlaws. Like, when there's a lot of hype building up around an update, we see a big surge of people getting interested in Offroad Outlaws, and then usually after that, we'll see some sort of a dip again, and then we will see another surge once the update either gets closer or more news is shared. Now, what makes me curious about that, though, is the fact that when you look at what people are doing in the game, like, say, for example, if you go on the biggest Offroad Outlaws Facebook group, for example, you'll see a lot of builds, you'll see a lot of trail riding, but you won't necessarily see quite as much of the things that I get asked for over here on YouTube. So there's definitely different parts and segments to the community and different, elements of the community that will ask to see different things and that play the game in different ways. For example, the older demographic that plays the game will really usually be seen kind of gravitating towards more either crawler builds or Baja builds, or builds, in kind of some realistic degree to an extent, whereas I think the younger crowd that plays the game is going to be a little bit more into the monster trucks, the mega trucks, the wacky vehicles, the sometimes the squatted vehicles, the SEMA trucks. It really all depends on what you're looking to do within the game. But the biggest thing that brings me back to is customization. Because all of these different ways that you can play the game are only possible because of the level of customization the game offers you. And if the game did not offer you that level of customization, this game would not be able to have a diverse audience, especially in the way that it does, where it's got older players, younger players, players that play this game for just rock crawling, or just racing, or just Baja stuff, or just mudding, or just to build trucks. All of these different ways to play the game are literally only possible in, well, at least in large part, because of the customization. And I think if you deepen that customization system even more, there's going to be a lot more things that you can do and a lot more people that your game can honestly reach. So now, having gone on and on about how customization really comes down to the core of, at least in my opinion, the core important factor of this game, apart from obviously physics and drivability and things like that, let me know any thoughts and opinions on this topic that you may have in the comments down below, because I'm very curious to not only hear them, but I'm also really interested in getting that conversation going down there, because I genuinely enjoy talking with y'all about these topics because I find them legitimately interesting. And with that being said and done, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I will see y'all next time.